Gentleman from Kansas is recognized.
Well, thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you, Commissioner Werfel, for joining us today. You know, as a new commissioner, I know you have your work cut out for you as far as things going on, and you know, I look forward to working together to help clarify the agency's priorities and deliver a better experience for taxpayers. And at the end of the day, helping them retain as much as their income as possible after they worked for it, and paying the taxes is a task that we want to do as part of our country and the process we have here. We're all aware tax day was last week, and I know that it's fresh on the Kansas minds about how much money has gone into the federal government in Washington, D.C. via their taxes, and they want to know and have a right to know that their hard-earned dollars are going and where they're going and what's being used for. And that's true across the federal agencies, any agency that exists in the federal government. I want to talk a little bit about, you know, instead of increasing the audits on ordinary Americans, what's the IRS doing about dedicating their efforts to help focus on security and protocol? Given some of the major leaks of confidential information that's happened in recent years, you know, it's been nearly 2 years now since ProPublica published confidential information obtained through a massive leak, and still no one's held accountable. And just last week, the IRS disclosed confidential information contained in a Form 990T when it was not once but twice posted on online. And you know, mistakes like this don't inspire confidence that the IRS can be trusted with the secure, confidential taxpayer information. So why is it that nobody's been held accountable for the ProPublica leaks? And you know, as the new commissioner, will you commit that you know that you're going to focus on finding why these leaks occurred and will work to make sure that they don't happen again?
Well, let me start, Congressman, by saying, and I mentioned earlier, how important data security is. And when I first was approached about doing the IRS job and I sat down to get ready for my Senate confirmation hearing, I wrote down what are the most important implementation factors, and the first thing I wrote in tax administration is data security. It is the topmost priority. And as I mentioned earlier, in my early weeks here, I'm trying to figure out and determine what's our state of the union in terms of data security. Where do we have strength? For example, right now, I'm comfortable with our cyber profile in terms of what we're doing, but we need to stay ahead and keep investing in the right solutions. And there are areas, as for example, there are several TIGTA recommendations that we have not done yet that we need to do, and I want to close those gaps, and the Inflation Reduction Act provides us the resources. With respect to the specific issue that you raised, it's my understanding that the issue has been referred to the Inspector General. And the appropriate protocol for me at that point, once an issue's been referred to the Inspector General, is to stand back, let the Inspector General do any review that they deem necessary, and to offer to the Inspector General any support that is needed from me. And I had a general conversation with Russell George early in my term that confirmed my understanding that my role is to refer issues, let him do his work, and when he needs my help in investigation, I will be there to help him.
Which is great, and we want to make sure that inspector generals are able to do their job wherever the work that they're doing. I guess the frustration that we feel is now 2 years in, we're hearing this constant story, there's an investigation underway, and we're not hearing anything. And are you getting updates from the Inspector General? Are you having meetings, or you have a schedule that you'll get together every 3 months, every quarterly, get an update, or what's the process there?
Typically in any investigation, what the Inspector General will provide is immediate input to us if there's an action that we can take to close a critical gap. Let's say they're doing a review of a system for security. They won't wait 5 months and say, we see a gap. They'll come to us early and say, we see a gap, even though the study's not done yet, or the audit or the investigation. So anything that the Inspector General tells us mid-audit or mid-investigation is for us to take an immediate action. And I think in general, broader than there are ongoing Inspector General reports on data security and ongoing recommendations that were in place for years that haven't been closed, and my focus is on closing those.
Well, and that's good. I guess there's just a frustration. It sounds like this is being swept under the rug. 2 years now, nothing happening. So I know I'm about out of time. I've got so many other questions. You know, one of the things that concerns me, and I know several members already talked about it, is the Inflation Act, when it came out, only dedicated $3.2 billion out of the $80 billion for support and customer service. And that's a concern I think that a lot of us have. So my time's expired, but I'll yield back, Mr. Chairman.